Όπως κάθε χρόνο, θα θέλαμε να ξεκινήσουμε το συνέδριό μας όχι με άλλο ένα τεχνολογικό session. Υπάρχουν πάνω από 80 μέσα στο Σαββατοκύριακο. Θέλουμε όμως να ξεκινήσουμε θετικά. Θα ήθελα να καλέσω τον καθηγητή του Τμήματος Ψυχολογίας του Παντίου Πανεπιστημίου, κύριο Αναστάσιο Σταλίκα, για να μας παρουσιάσει πώς μπορούμε να βιώσουμε και να μεταφράσουμε τα θετικά συναισθήματα και τη θετική σκέψη για το καλό όλων μας. Καλό μας συνέδριο και σας ευχαριστούμε πολύ.
Hi there. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this conference. My name is Anastassios Stalikas, and I have at least 3 good reasons to be happy for being here. The first reason to be here is that I love what I do. As you know, I'm a university professor, I'm a researcher, I'm a psychotherapist, I'm a coach, I have all kinds of different hats that I'm wearing. I'm also the president of the Hellenic Association of Positive Psychology, and for the last 25 years, that means from approximately the age of 12, I've been working with positive psychology. So every time I have a chance to talk about positive psychology, it's a pleasure for me, it's a real treat. The second reason that I'm very happy that I'm here today is because there is a certain stereotype and misconceptions about academics and university professors. There is this idea that we professors were so academic. In other words, we talk about things that they don't matter to people, and we talk and study and research things that they don't have any applications for the actual practical life of the world. Here my challenge today is to show you that's not true. There is quite a few of us that were doing lots of work research-wise, which is very important for our daily life. And the third reason that I'm happy is because of you, the IT community. I don't have the chance to talk to the IT communities very often, and I'm pretty sure that will be a challenge for me. If I can persuade some of you to get intrigued by what I will say, maybe 10% or so, 3 people maybe, to go and look a bit further about positive psychology, about positive emotions, then my talk will be successful. As you realize, for myself, my secret here is not simply to have a nice talk, but to intrigue you enough so that you will go and learn more about positive psychology. The title of my talk is The Secret Power of Positivity. And I say the secret power of positivity because for many, many years, we didn't know what positivity can do for our physical health and psychological health. And let's go to what you should anticipate. As I'm talking to you today, I will be trying to make 4 main points. The first one is positivity works. Positivity is good for us and has a beneficial effects both for our physical and psychological health. Second one, positivity is learned. Third, and that's a challenge for you guys, reality is constructed. And the fourth point I will try to make in closing is that positivity constructs a smarter reality, a more functional reality. Let's start then. Point 1. The main premise of my today's talk is that positivity is the beneficial role of positivity on our physical and psychological health and much more. Now, what do I mean by that? And some people, they say, what are you trying to say here? What I try to say is something very simple. So simple, sometimes I feel embarrassed that I have a career out of it. And the simple thing I'm trying to say is that every time I experience a positive emotion, and when we talk about a positive emotion, I mean one of those 10 emotions, every time something happens that I feel joyful, every time there's a moment in my life where I feel grateful about things that happened, about the friends that I have, the significant others in my life. Every time I get a moment where I feel calm and quiet and peacefulness. Every time something happens that piques my interest and I feel like, oh, that's an interesting thing, what is it all about? Every little moment where I hope, oh, there is hope. There is the light in the end of the tunnel. Every time my soccer team, Aris Thessaloniki, wins and I feel very proud of them. Every time I'm going out with my friends and the people that I love and I'm having fun together, every time something happens and inspires me. And then when I see something in the world that I like in a state of awe, and I'm thinking, my God, what is this? Wow. And then finally, when you're in a position to be loved and beloved, as we say, any of these 10 kind of positive emotions, every time you experience one of them, even for a millisecond, something happens. Something is initiated. Something is activated. Now, people come and say to me, what do you exactly mean by that? Don't we know that? Don't we know that these emotions are there and that these emotions are important in some way? The reality is that until recently, we all thought that positive emotions are the result of our actions. All that we knew, it was when we do something that we're good at, and then people say congratulations, then we feel like, okay, every time that we feel that somebody loves us or we love somebody, then we feel this emotion of love, and that's about it. It's embarrassing, but as psychologists, until 1998, we had no clue as to why the good God or whoever constructed us, Toshiba or Microsoft, I'm not sure, why did they give us positive emotions? So the new thing, the thing that happens recently, I mean, I'm only 22 years now, it is that positive emotions are triggering events. Positive emotions are the beginning of a chain reaction of events that do good for ourselves, both physically and psychologically. And I keep repeating this because that's quite important. One easy way to understand this is what we call the omega-3 of our psyche. If we had the chance to be here live and I would see you in an auditorium, I would start asking you, what is omega-3? And some of you will come up and will reply that there's like the good lipids, is the good fatties, and I would say, very good, you're quite, we're quite knowledgeable. Now tell me, where do we get the omega-3? And some of you will say the fish, and some of you will say salmon, and some of you will say macadamia nuts, and some of you will say sardines. In this way, I'll be able to know your socioeconomic strata at the same time. So imagine then that you're here in Athens, in beautiful Athens or in beautiful Thessaloniki, and you're going to a little place, a little restaurant, to eat your sardines and drink your traditional tsipuro. And as we're eating our sardines, which are so fresh, and we say, my God, what a beautiful taste, how nicely the sardines, all the salmon tastes. And this taste, it doesn't last but a few seconds, especially when you eat it with tsipuro and then you drink the tsipuro, the taste is gone. But nevertheless, after you finished your meal and after you had enough tsipuro to be drunk enough and tipsy enough that now you want to go to bed and you go take a little nap, something that the people from Thessaloniki like me know quite well, while you're asleep, the omega-3 that you have consumed comes out in your body and affects you at a cellular level. It protects your cells. It stops the free roots and does all kinds of anti-oxidation processes that protects you at a cellular level. It is exactly the same thing with positive emotions. Positive emotions may last a few seconds, but the effect that it has in your body, it's long enduring. In other words, you may be driving down the road and then you stop at the red light, you look at your left, and you see a lady holding a beautiful baby. And you think like, oh my God, this is so nice. And the moment you say, oh my God, this isn't so nice, somebody honks behind you because now the light is green and you have to go. That's okay. Even this little moment that you have, even this little moment that you have of positivity, it's enough for you to start this whole process. I hope it's making clear then what I'm talking about. I'm talking about little pockets of experiencing positive emotions. Now, in the talks that I do and the conferences that I give, people come and tell me this kind of questions, and I think there are three important caveats here that we have to take into account. As I said, people come to me and they say, Dr. Stalikas, you're so good. I so much believe in positive thinking. And you know what? I even met my husband through a positive thinking process. And I'm going like, what do you mean? And they say, well, I was in a bar and I saw this very handsome guy. And I said to myself, I start thinking positively and saying, look at me, turn and look at me. And my husband, my future husband, turned his head and looked at me, and that's how we met. And that's where I lose half of my audience, because I'm not talking about positive thinking. I'm talking about positive emotions. The idea, it's not to think positively, but to experience positive emotions. For a while, I think Coelho did us a bad job, and I think the book The Secret did a horrible job, because they made us believe that if you think in a way positively, then good things will happen to you. I'm sorry to inform you that this is not true. No matter how many times you will go in front of your mirror and you will say to yourself, I'm handsome, I'm handsome, I'm handsome, you're not going to get any more handsomer, more handsome than you actually are. The secret here is to experience positive emotions, not to think positively even though you don't feel like it. The second caveat, which is very important, is when I tell you I want you to experience positive emotions, I don't mean that you should be all the time in a positivity mood, like 24/7. This is impossible to do. At some point, I have another example to give you. I was in a theater, and like during the break, somebody comes to me and says, "Dr. Stalikas, how are you?" And I don't know who is he. And then he comes to me and he says, "Oh, here's my wife." And he says, "Wife, this is Dr. Stalikas who told us, is your house on fire? Don't worry. You lost your job? Don't worry." And I'm thinking, is that what he got? Is that what you got from my talk? I have to make sure that I'm not giving the wrong message here. And that's not the message I want to put through with you. I don't mean that you have to be always positive. I don't want to be in a state where we call the positivity curse, that you have to be smiling no matter what. On the contrary, and here we go to the third thing, is that we think that both negative and positive emotions are useful. As I said earlier, whoever constructed us gave us both negative and positive emotions because both of them are useful for different reasons. Negative emotions are very important because they focus us. They put us they give us direction. They motivate us. They prepare us to act. The bad thing about negative emotions is they spend energy. It's very difficult. Like after a while, when you're depressed or afraid or angry or anxious, after a while you get tired. You get out of fuel. Positive emotions do the contrary. They broaden us. They open us up. When you're under the influence of positive emotions, you think better. Your mind broadens. You become smarter. Your emotions are more active and more vibrant. You have different kinds and a bigger variety of emotions. You're socially more adept, and you're more able to relate to people better, to take risks, to try new and novel situations. And also, you take in fuel, you take in energy. Energy that we then, when we switch to the negative emotions mode, we need them in order to be able to act fast, to be productive, and to be efficient. So the third caveat says, we need both negative and positive emotions. Beware. There's a whole area in psychology that we call it emotional regulation. And basically what it says is that maybe we'll have to put down a little bit our level of negative emotions. We should try to experience less often, less intense, and for a shorter period of time negative emotions. And we should try to increase our positive emotions. Because it seems that by our structure, the way we're constructed, negative emotions are always in the higher level than positive emotions. And we need, in a sense, to align our brain and bring this positivity and negativity in the same level. Now, having said all that, I don't mean that if you start to experience positive emotions, you're going to live to be 120, or you're not going to fail, or you're not going to, to age. All I'm saying is that the increase of positive emotions, that if you experience more positive emotions, all kinds of good things will enhance your psychological and your physical health without so exaggerating and telling you that, experiencing positive emotions is a panacea of some sort. All right, I think I've made my point. And my first point, it is that positivity works. Now, before I go any further, I told you I'm a researcher. So as a researcher, I have to tell you the things we know and what research had told us for the last 25 years. Don't worry, it won't be so boring, and I'll try and make it as fast as I can. I think this will be the shortest history of research findings about positivity in the world, because I've organized the research findings in a few categories, and I'll go and tell you very shortly what does the research tell us about the benefits of positivity. People who experience positive emotions, they live 5 to 7 years more than people who do not experience positive emotions. Don't think that it's nothing. There is nothing else psychological that adds 5 to 7 years in your life. That's quite important. And for those of you who are skeptics and you say, yeah, but the point is not to live more years, the point is to live good years and be healthy, well, here it comes. Your physical health is better. People who experience more positive emotions, have a positive attitude, they have better physical health. They have significantly less levels of heart attacks, of heart problems, of diabetes, etc., etc. And when they do have these problems, they seem to be able to settle them better. And it's not only your physical health, it's also your psychological health. People who are experiencing more positive emotions, have a more positive attitude towards life, they have a better psychological health. Again, It's not that they do not get depressed or anxious or afraid or they don't have stress, but it seems that it lasts less, it lasts a shorter period of time, it's not as profound, as deep, and it doesn't happen as often as in other people. It seems that positivity acts as a protector, acts as a shield, and what we call it fuels your psychological resilience. And if we leave this kind of psychological components, you become smarter. People under the influence of positive emotions, they think better, they think faster, they make less mistakes. And not only they are better in solving problems, but also they're better in performing. They're being more competent. They're doing things faster, they're doing better, both in the academic work and the athletic work and in the occupational stage. They're also more creative and innovative. You know how the word is like, be creative and think out of the box? The major prerequisite for you to become innovative or to become creative, it is to be under the influence of positivity. And last but not least, what we found is that people who are more positive, more smiling, they experience positive emotions, they have a better, a stronger social support. They have more friends. They have more steady and important social relationships. And social relationships are very important for our overall well-being. So, what did I tell you? Basically, I told you, you know, guys, there is something that we have it, you don't have to buy it, it doesn't cost anything, and it's called positivity. And that if you will be able to increase your positivity, then you will boost both your physical health, your psychological health, your performance, the level of success, your overall well-being, and you'll be more loved and you will have a better social support. I hope I made my point. I hope I can persuade you, have persuaded you, that positivity indeed works. And it's a good thing that positivity works. Now, the next question, of course, everybody asks me is like, okay, we buy it, we believe you that, yes, what you're saying is true. Now tell us, what can I do? What can I do to increase my positivity? Well, here's a challenge for you. I know the IT community, it's very skeptical of this kind of soft skills sometimes. But your challenge for you is try it out. It's for free. I'm not asking you to buy anything. All I'm asking you to do is discover the positivity around you. See around you and see what are the stimuli around you that can make you experience positive emotions. It's very surprising and it's very simple. Some people they say, oh my God, this is like, yeah. And I say, give it a shot. You have nothing to lose here. If you agree that positivity does all these kinds of good things for us, why don't you give it a shot? Open your eyes. See something around you. And when you look something that you kind of like, stay there. And stay there for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And savor the moment and say, what a beautiful picture. What a beautiful person. What a beautiful sky. Savor the moment. And after you savor the moment of positivity, the next time you talk to a friend of yours, tell them that this morning you saw a beautiful sky, or you saw a beautiful woman, or a beautiful man, or a beautiful person, or a beautiful baby. By doing this, you are helping your brain to start seeing the positive. But seeing the positive is one of the 3 roads. The second road is invite positivity. Again, if we would be together in life here, I will ask you to get in pairs, and I will ask you, one of you, to look at the other person's face and smile, and look them in the eyes. And I will ask the other person to be serious, just for 7 seconds. You will find that it will be very difficult to do, because it seems that the moment that somebody looks us in the eyes and smiles, it's almost automatic that we smile back. And even if you will be able to restrain yourself and you will not smile, it will become with difficulty. It takes a lot of effort not to smile. You know why? Because we're wired. We're wired that when we smile, first of all, there's some things called neurotransmitters in our brain, like dopamine and serotonin, that they are secreted, and it changes your moods. And secondly, because when you smile, then the person who looks at you smiles as well. You kind of do the same thing to the people around you. In inviting possibility, there is another exercise we do, which is kind of funny and interesting. It's like I say, I want you to have your eyes open, and I want you to find 3 things every day that goes well. Look around you, and the moment that you see something that goes well, comment on it, approve it, applaud it, and then go to the significant other of yours or your friends and say, you know what, this happening was clearly good. So say to the person that helps you on the phone, thank you for being fast, thank you for being so thorough, thank you for being so kind. Or go to the supermarket, and the person who is helping you buy something, you say, thank you for your kindness, thank you for being fast, for doing it well, for doing it quickly. By doing these kinds of acts, I ask you to put your brain to think, to look, to study, to see the positive thing around them, and to make point of all of this. I'm helping you, align your brain. I'm helping your brain to start seeing the positive more than less. And third, it's provoke positivity. As I said, when we were born, when we came to this planet, we came in this planet with the negative emotions being the negative, or like the tendency of our brain to recognize negative stimuli, it's more heightened. And this is good, because this is how we protect ourselves. Imagine ourselves when we're like in the times that we're living, like in the prehistoric times, we're very scared, and we had to be very careful when we wake up in the morning to see for the enemies. We don't need that anymore. So now that's why we need to do this alignment. So when you wake up in the morning and you don't feel good, and you don't feel well, and you're sad or upset or worried, take your coffee and reminisce. Think about something you did last week, last year, last summer. Think of the grateful things that you've done. Appreciate the things that you got. Get a sense of gratitude for the things that you have in your life, your children, your wife, your significant others, your friends, the chance that you got to be here, to live in that place, to go to that trip, to have this particular experience, to be in this conference. And if nothing works, go and exercise. Exercising is good because it puts you in a good mood. It puts the endorphins out, and it makes you really feel much better for you. Change your habits. Identify habits that when you do them, you don't improve your positivity, but rather you boycott your positivity. So when you go home, don't go on the couch right away. Don't turn on the TV right away. Do not listen to the news all day long. They are downers. Listen more to the music. And finally, help people. Recent research findings from neuropsychology have shown us that when we help people, there is a particular hormone that acts as a neurotransmitter called oxytocin that is secreted in our organism. And oxytocin is the hormone of love. So by helping somebody, I'm improving my positivity. When I help somebody, I feel good that I helped this person. So when I'm helping somebody, I'm doing it strictly egotistically because I want to provoke my positivity. So, as I said, positivity is learned. I just showed you 3 ways to improve, to increase your positivity. 3 ways to help your brain recalibrate itself and to start seeing the positive things around it. Now, I know I'm talking to the IT community, and maybe you're a bit skeptical, and you'll say, well, is that stuff now? That's too American for us, or too simplistic. Or when I say these kinds of things to people, they come to me and they say, yeah, but I'm not so sure if they will work. And I say, well, here's a challenge for you. Do it. I want you for the next 21 days, every day, to find 3 positive moments of your life. When I do psychotherapy with my clients, I ask them to do 3 good moments in their life. Is the moment when you talk to a friend and you laugh, when you're here to a beautiful piece of music in your work, when you're with your mother, with a significant other, with something. I want you to have 3 positive moments per day. It's like a doctor's orders. Or I want you for the next 21 days to make 3 compliments, 3 honest, authentic compliments every day. Can you try it? If you do this, I guarantee you that your mood will improve, you'll become more optimistic, and you will become more positive. Now, it's not so as easy as it sounds, but I want you to try it. I have some clients sometimes that they come to me and I tell them do this exercise, and they come 4 days later, they send me an SMS and they say, it's 4 days and I've done nothing. I didn't find 3 good moments in my day. What should I do? And I answer like, commit suicide. I'm jokingly, of course, and I'm saying, you're not looking hard enough. If you look hard enough, you will find 3 little positive moments in your day. Then another way that people say to me, well, I don't know if that's enough, and that sounds too easy, and that's too superficial, because, there is a reality out there. and I have troubles out there, and I don't have I'm unemployed, and I just divorced, and I have all kinds of things. Where do I get all these little moments, little things that you're talking about? Well, I want to invite you now to play a little game with me. I'll tell you a story, and in that story, stop talking on the phone, come back here and listen to my story. I'll tell you the story, and then it will last a few minutes, and in the end of the story, I will ask you a question. So the story goes as follows. Are you there? Are you all there? Are you all paying attention to me? Paying attention to me? Good, guys. Very good. You're in the bank. You're in the bank because you have to pay something, obviously. And as you are in the bank, then some bank robbers get in. Now the bank robbers get in. There is a little bit of a panic. There's an old man behind you says, what happened? There's an old lady that says, I think I'm going to faint. The woman, the bank teller behind the teller is like getting all kind of panicky. She pushes the panic button. There is a noise in the bank. The robbers get panicked now, and they start shooting all around. And all of a sudden, you feel like a little something here. Oof. And as you look, the blood coming down your shirt, with the break, you're so brave, and the bravery that characterizes you, you faint. Okay, now you faint. You open your eyes, and you're at the hospital. And your people are around you. You look at them, they look at you, and they say, don't worry. You're fine. Don't worry. Everything is good. It was a through and through wound. It will, it's not dangerous for your life. So you take a breath, and you ask, what happened to the other people in the bank? And they tell you, there were 50 people in the bank. You're the only one who got wounded. All right. Here comes the question. How many of you think that you are lucky? And how many of you will say yourself, I was unlucky? Think about it. Are you lucky or are unlucky? How many of you, when you go out of the hospital and you have your hand, like this, and somebody sees you, you say, hey, John, hey, Mary, what happened to you? You will say, oh, I was so lucky. Or how many of you will say, oh, I was so unlucky? How many? Keep counting, keep answering. The research shows that when we do this, 60% of the people, they say they were lucky, and 40% they say, I wasn't lucky. And now think about it. If you put your attention into the fact that you haven't died, then you're very lucky. Indeed, you didn't die. But if you put the emphasis on the idea that there was like 50 people in the bank, and you were the only one in 50, 2%, right? Then you are very unlucky. Now here comes. The reality is that you were shot by a bullet in the bank. Whether you are lucky or unlucky is your construction, is your creation. It's you who is constructing reality. So every time you say, I was lucky that this happened or unlucky that this happened, that's not the objective reality. It's your narrative of the reality, is that you're constructing this reality. So when I said earlier reality is constructed, that's what I meant. I meant that we take events, that we perceive ideas, and based on the perception of ideas, we construct our reality. And we pay attention to that reality and that reality only. Now, keep in mind that the human brain, it gets 40 million bytes of information per second. And after all these 40 million bytes of information per second, it can only perceive 40 bytes. So when your brain looks around, it picks up 40 bytes of information per second, and it's on this basis, with this perception, with this selection of information, that constructs reality. You know what's something else? And here is another exercise for you. How many of you here, you see a vase, and how many of you see two people, en profil, looking at each other? Most of you will tell me you will see both. And then I will ask you, which one do you see first? When I show you the picture, which one did you see first? Did you see the vase, or did you see the two faces? Jot it down, jot it down. All right, let's go to the next one. Here. How many of you see a young lady? And how many of you see an old lady? Take a moment, look at it. In this picture, we have both a young lady and an old lady. But your brain saw the young lady first and the old lady second, or saw the old lady first and the young lady second, or you're still struggling and you're saying, where the hell is the old lady? I cannot see her. Or, where's the young lady? I cannot see the young lady, I can only see the old lady. This has to do with your perception of your brain. Trust me, both the young and the old lady stay there. They are there. But your brain can or cannot see them because it perceives differently the picture that I'm sharing with you. And you know what is the funny thing? One of the things that affects the way we see the world is our emotional state. If you're in a good mood, you see your mind perceives different things. If you're in a bad mood, your mind, your brain perceives different things. So what is the state, the emotional state that you are, it affects greatly both your perception, how you see the world, your interpretation, how you understand why the things are happening, and then how you narrate this reality. Do you see what I'm talking about then? I'm talking about the idea that it's you who is constructing your reality. Now, this is a very interesting finding, and I hope it shocks you. When we ask people they're happy, and we have done many studies in the last 25 years, we found out that people are happy, or rather to say differently, your happiness, it's explained 10% by your objective reality and 90% of the way you understand, interpret, and narrate your reality. So whether or not Bill Gates is happy, 10% is because of the money he has, of where he lives, the job he does. And 90% is of the way he narrates his life. And this is not only true about Bill Gates, it's also true of the Kurds refugees that we found, floating outside, from Turkey, and they came to Greece and interviewed them, and we found out that half approximately of them, they were in horrible shape, in what we call in psychotherapy post-traumatic stress disorder. And the other half, they were pretty healthy psychologically. And the question was, how come? How come this group of people who went through the same kind of torture and troubles, how come half of them are kind of like really psychologically in bad shape, and the other half, they are really in very good shape? And the answer was, those ones who were in bad shape, they were narrating what they had experienced in a very dysfunctional way. Why me? I lost everything. There is no tomorrow. What a catastrophe. I'm so unlucky. Oh my God. And those who were in a very good psychological state, they were saying like, I survived. I came, I made it here. It was difficult, but I was able to withheld. Whatever happened, it was because of my country, because of my ideology, because of I believed in my people. And inshallah, God first, and everything will go well. Those people were those who have a better psychological health. So think of it. Whether you're happy or not, 90% has to do with the way you narrate your life, and 10% has to do with the objective reality. Think of yourself as a TV station. And like, do you want the news that you're saying, do you want to be BBC, or do you want to be Sky News? Or do you want to be like Star, or do you want to be Earth One? So the way you narrate, the way you present the events, the way that you say things affects your happiness. All right, then, you got it. The narrative is very important. And this is a trouble for you now, guys. Now that you heard me say these things, every time you go home at night, and you say, and your wife, your husband, your significant other asks you, how was your day? And you start saying, you have to stop. And you have to say, is the complete narrative? Am I putting all the things in my narrative for my day? And here, let me be clear. I don't mean to withhold information. I don't mean you should not say about the things that really bothered you, upset you, made you sad, made you angry. What I'm telling you is that I'm pretty sure that if you go back into your day, the same day, you will also find 1, 2, or 3, or 4 things that also made you feel excited, joyful, serene, peaceful, funny. So when I ask you now to say, what was your day like? I want you to go back and give me the full narrative, both the negative and the positive things that happened in your day. A more balanced narrative, it makes you, it promotes both your physical and your psychological health. It is this point when I say all these things and they say, yeah, it's great, you're saying it all this very well, but that's not for me. They come and they say to me, what is your astrological sign? You say, well, I say, what do you ask? And they say, well, me, I'm Cancer. And we Cancer, we're very, pessimistic about things. So other people come to me and they say, well, I'm old, can I do it? Oh, that's, you're not serious. Of course you can do it. Positivity is learned. Positivity is learned, and you can learn it. If you learn how to drive a car, how to raise a child, how to make programming, then you can learn to become more positive. All you have to do is change your focus from negative to positive. Recognize the positive elements of your day. Invite, provoke positivity. Experience more positive emotions. Broaden your perspectives. Get friends, get people to do it together, and keep practicing. Positive psychology, it's a new discipline. We exist like for the last 22 years. And during these 22 years, if you think like in science, these last 22 years, we have done lots of things, and we have grew exponentially, as they say. And we have different methods, different ideas, and different ways for you to boost your positivity. Here is the time to do my little personal, little advertising, and I will say, get to the Hellenic Association of Positive Psychology, www.positiveemotions.gr, or in any other site of positive psychology, and find how to live your life with values, with meaning. Find how to use your virtues, your character strengths. Learn how to express gratitude, how to build your optimism, how to develop compassion and empathy for the other people, how to develop your generosity and being generous for you, not for the others, how to be able to get in a state of flow, or to become more mindful about things, or how to learn to be able to savor the moments, and last but not least, how to be more self-compassionate about you. I think I gave you a lot of information today, and I hope I was able to intrigue at least 3 people, maybe 4, to go further. And after I finish this talk, you'll be able to go to www.positiveemotions.gr or go to TEDx or see a presentation and find out more about how, by increasing your positivity, you could increase both your psychological and your physical health. In closing, if I want something for you to take with from this talk today, is like, guys, trust me, positivity is the high road. Increasing your positivity, you are maximizing your potentials, your possibility to have a successful, meaningful, and happy both occupational life and personal life. Secondly, that positivity is not only the 3 methods that I showed you in the beginning on how to build your positivity, but it has to do a lot with your narrative, the way you construct your reality, and the way you narrate your reality to the world. And the third point, it's doable. You can do it. If you can, do all these other kinds of things in the world, positivity is accessible, but you have to actively seek it and pursue it. Thank you very much. I hope you got my point, and I want to welcome you to the conference. Have a nice conference here. Thank you.